Hello everyone, I'm Hafiz.
And I'm Parkson.
We are the fathers behind the podcast We Are Dads Too. We discuss everything from being an effective father to a good co-parent to our spouse.
We also have guests and experts on our show to talk about the different aspects of fatherhood. Come and join us to discover more about our experiences as fathers because
We Are Dads Too. Click on the link below to follow us on Spotify. Alright, Parkson.
Yes,
Hi.
Hafiz.
Yes, today we have a special guest. Another very special guest.
Wow.
Very difficult to get
Everyone
this person.
is special.
Right. Of course. We only bring special people. All right, because we are not so special. That's why we must bring special
I think
people.
people might be tired of listening to us. I hope not, but
I'm not listening to you yet, Parkson.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, with us today is Dr Tawfiq.
Hi,
Hi, Dr Tawfiq.
thanks Hafiz and Parkson for inviting me today to join your podcast. Hope I can share some light on the health topics today.
Yeah. How you know Tawfiq is how I know Parkson. Through the internet.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds a bit, shady or what, but I did. I was looking for someone with specialization in men's health. And your name came out,
Oh wow.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So you're out there.
On page 1 of the Google search.
I don't know. Maybe. I can't remember.
On the Facebook search of Google.
But I found it. I found you. So anyway, a bit of background on Dr. Tawfiq. After graduating from NUS School of Medicine, he gained medical experience working in pediatrics, general medicine and surgery departments at various healthcare institutions and several general hospitals in Singapore. So currently he's the medical director of Pulse, as in your, Pulse Beating, Medical Center at Neil Road, focusing on men's health and sexual health. Free advertisement. Next time must pay. Dr. Tawfiq is the author of health articles featured in the New Paper and other newspapers like Berita Minggu, Berita Harian and Berita Mediacorp. He has also participated in health expert panels, most notably on Surah Channel Talk on various TV programs. So he also invited on radio and to share his medical and health knowledge on men's health and general health. Wow. And I also know you because when I watch your Facebook Live, you do have your own Facebook Live, and I heard TikTok coming soon.
Just started, yes.
All right, you're definitely a millennial. Okay.
Trying to keep young.
Yes, on general health.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today, the topic of men's health is on the table.
All right.
And it is not easy for men to talk to each other about their health,
Yes.
especially general health. And later on, we have another episode on sexual health. Right.
Yes.
So let's first talk about general health. And Parkson, I give you the right to ask the first question because I talk too much already.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's your health, Dr. Tawfiq?
Wow. Okay, that's right. Straight to the point. Okay, I think thankfully is good. Of course, constantly trying to be better and better. And I think that's always something that we strive to. You can never be perfect, but it's always constantly trying to be better and better.
What do you think is some of the key secrets or, the key things to having good health?
Well, I think most of us already know this, but it may be cliche. It's actually what we need to do. So eat healthily, stay physically active, and of course also make sure you manage your stress well, because that's another big thing that sometimes people forget. And don't forget to also go for regular health screening, because sometimes you may think you're healthy, but just to be sure, you may pick up certain things.
Health screening. How often should that be done?
Okay, so according to age, so if you are above 40, you should aim for at least one health screening every year. If you're below 40, you can aim one health screening every 2 years.
Wow. I have not done a health screening for more than 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
you need to do it
I think
every
it's
month
due.
now.
Okay, time for a checkup.
Yeah. Maybe I'm a typical man, because if nothing is broken, don't fix it. Or if nothing seems broken, don't find out.
Yeah, that makes two of us, person.
Okay.
No, for me, I go for health cleaning a few times, actually, when we are with the company, right? So free, right? Sponsored. However, I don't like the result. And when I got the result, I don't like, sometimes the doctors tell me I must take this medicine, and I'm not empty medicine. I take it only when I need to. So I usually go to the alternative. the exercise, but that itself is another challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what how do you see men's attitude towards this health, and who when you see the men that come to you, what's the difference that these men come to you and wanting to know more about their health, go for eye screening and so on and so forth?
So I think generally most men are, I mean, similar to both of you, how your responses were. If nothing's broken, don't fix it. You feel you're healthy, everything is in good shape, so you feel there's no need to get checked. So most men feel that way. They feel that way because they are exercising, they are eating healthy, and maybe they feel that they can still do the normal activities on a daily basis, so they feel they don't have to check. But of course, if you don't check, then you won't know, right? And for those guys who come regularly, they tend to be maybe more aware or more concerned, and also notice maybe they hang around the people that they are surrounded by, surrounding themselves with, usually guys who also take good care of themselves, really stay fit and healthy, and so they constantly remind each other to stay fit, so they constantly come in for that checkup as well.
And what usually for men who really don't like to go for health checkup, but when it really means very important for them, what are the kind of signs that they should look out for? That you better go for a check, otherwise it may be life-threatening or something. Yeah.
Okay, so as the name suggests, health screening means you have no problems. So it's just a screening. So hopefully you don't have to look out for signs. Actually, you should not look out for signs for health screening. It's just that if you hit a certain age, at least above 30, above 35, you start going, just to check. Don't wait for signs, because signs means you need to seek treatment or consultation already. Yeah. So the answer is don't wait for signs. Just go for the screening.
Don't wait for it to break,
yeah,
or crack.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm not boasting, but I'm just stating a fact. I have not fallen sick for the last 5 years. I've not seen a doctor for the last 5 years. I've not taken any kind of medication except antihistamines to control my allergies, which is only like for 3 months out of a year, when the wind changes.
Okay.
I then my nose gets very sensitive, and I had to control the my allergies and things like that.
Is it your genes?
No, before that I was frequently sick. When I was young, my father would take me to the doctors very often, and they would give me lots of antibiotics, and so I have tetracycline stains on my teeth and things like that.
Wow.
And they kept saying, I have a flu, I have a cold, things like that. But actually, what later on I found out what I probably really had was just a sensitive nose, So it's allergies, it's sinusitis and things like that, which doesn't need antibiotics at all. All right. So maybe you can say I've developed a wariness, to see a doctor. All right. And if I do see a doctor, it's usually to get a diagnosis, and that's it. Most of the time, I don't even take the medicine they give me. So I'm not a good example to follow. Please don't quote me or use me as your example. But that's my attitude towards it. I don't know. I guess I'm trying to stay away from medication because a lot of it is chemicals and artificial. And in the last 3 years, I have started to exercise. 4 years, I guess. Before that, I've never ran. After my army days and reservist days, I've never ran. The only time I ran was after a bus.
Or being chased by a dog.
Thankfully, never chased by a dog. Okay. At least no mad dogs in Singapore. I come across. And my wife is the runner. My wife used to run 10
do the
kilometers
running for you,
every day. Yeah. So I said to her, if you run 10 kilometers, then 5 are for me,
No lah, I think Paksan, don't be so humble. You run also, but you run errands.
I run errands. I don't drive. I drive people up the wall. So things like that. So that was my attitude. But 4 years ago, I changed and I started to try to. First time I ran 200 meters, I almost died. So today I try to do it 3 times a week, besides just running. And I don't run 5 or 10 kilometers. I run 2 to 3 kilometers just to sweat, just to get my heart rate up. And then after that, do other stuff, just to get your body moving and strengthening your bones, especially when you're getting older,
Mm.
your bone density, your core strength. And so some of these more important things that will be really crucial in old age.
Mm.
So definitely, I mean, he raised up a very good matter here about living a healthy lifestyle, right? And what do you see the relationship between health, it's in all the chronic health or illness versus your lifestyle, right? Healthy lifestyle, and there must be some really close correlation, but somehow we don't do it. We understand it maybe, but we don't do it.
Yeah. So I mean, Pak Sam put up a good point, because most people are actually afraid to see the doctor, because first of all, you don't want to hear the bad news, and second part is you don't want to start taking medicine.
Okay.
So they feel like ignorance is bliss, because you don't know, you don't have to take it. But for me, I mean, maybe some doctors are like that. They just tell you, okay, just take medicine and that's it. But for me, my approach would be, if you need the medicine, you need the medicine. But at the same time, lifestyle changes are very important. So if you do the health screening, you have an idea of how you're doing with your lifestyle changes or lifestyle modifications. Are you doing it correctly? Then at least you can see, okay, so maybe I need to reduce this a bit more or increase this a bit more. So it's also a benchmark for you to see how you're doing on your own lifestyle modification. So if you're not keen for medication, but if you need medication, of course, then
for some things you definitely
it's
it.
like we know that when a doctor gives a prescription, I mean, it itself is a sign that you cannot just take the medicine anyhow. It won't help you improve. However, if you want to have a healthy lifestyle, seldom do we look for people to help us. And I'm asking you because you do conduct all this kind of, I mean, I think like coaching, kind of helping, advisory, and teaching people, and what do you think of that? Many people do not go through that process, right? Or they think they can.
Or they just watch a YouTube video.
Yeah, and then get into trouble, like, doing too much, and then get into, I mean, seriously, because there are cases where I know someone who just cycled, a lot, and then suddenly just collapse. Someone who have not been running for or not been doing any exercise, suddenly do a heavy one and collapse.
Yeah, so generally, I mean, it's good that somebody or these people actually started to take charge of their health, but it definitely helps to have somebody to guide them or give them some advice on how to get started. The most important part is the getting started part. Then after that, the maintenance will be just for you to continue and sustain it. So the first part is for you to want to take charge of your health. So a lot of people generally, they don't feel that the health part is their, is in their need to do it. They think they leave it to the doctors. So like, for example, I'm sick, I just say doctor, let doctor handle it. After I finish seeing the doctor, that's the end of my responsibility for my health. I just go do my normal things. On the other hand, actually, you should be the one taking charge of your health. The doctor only see you for a few minutes, but you need to know what you're doing on a daily basis and how you take care of your body and things like that. So the first step is to understand that I need to take care of my own body and my own health. And then the next thing is, when you do a health screening, you know, okay, where are the things that I need to improve on? So you have a benchmark or baseline. And then you can look at what are the things that you should be doing now to change after you make that transformation and changes, and then how do you sustain it? Yeah. So generally, that's the approach. So it takes time. Not everybody instantly get this realization. Like Pak Sen mentioned that 4 years ago, then you started running. So there must be something that sparked this. But not everybody gets that. So people just stay there and not do anything.
Yeah, I think that's very important because we spoke about this, about the habit cycle, the 3-part cycle of 4. One is there must be a trigger. There must be a cue, right? Second, a response or reaction to that cue. It may result from a craving, okay? And third is a reward. And you have to have the reward because that will complete the cycle back to the trigger. It will trigger you to do more. So that's called a cycle. So maybe you can also relate to some of the people that you help. It's not wait. For example, we can wait, for example, for an illness, and then we are triggered to do exercise or to start having a healthy lifestyle, but it'll be too late. Yeah. All right. So how do you find a trigger? Find something that can trigger you. Have that mindset that you don't wait for that moment. Is there a way?
I think that's the most difficult part,
Yeah.
finding the trigger. But
Yeah.
I think one of the things that can help is surrounding yourself with people who are doing the things that you want to do. So if you want to stay active, so you must surround yourself with people who stay active. You don't surround yourself with people who just drink kopi and
Yeah,
eat a lot
prata.
of food. Yeah, then you end up being like them. So if you want to exercise, then you join. You hang out with people who cycle or run or just do workout every day, that kind of thing. And so I surround yourself with people who focus on health. Always talk about how to stay healthy, how to stay young, and then that would be easier for instead of waiting for a trigger, you'll be influenced. I think that'd be easier. But finding a trigger is not so easy because there's so many things. It could be something drastic, be something subtle. Yeah. So
I think the other obstacle and hindrance could be also the thinking that, all right, for me, I've not been exercising for years, and then suddenly if I want to, one of the thoughts that came to my mind was, wow, okay, you mean I have to do all that? I don't
All
think I
that,
can. Yeah, all that.
So what is all that?
I mean, just that so I do not know, but
Fear. The fear starts setting in.
the fear, or I don't think I can achieve that, but we forget that it's a process, and you don't have to do a lot of things right from the start. You just need to do something.
yeah, just to
Right?
get started.
Yeah, just to get started. There was even a point where I couldn't even do one push-up. Right? So I said, okay, that would be my goal. I'm going to be, I will keep practicing until I can do 5, 7, 10, and so on and so forth. You see? So these are small, little, easy indicators of your so-called fitness. Now we're talking about fitness. Health is slightly different. You might not be sick, but you might not be healthy also.
Yeah.
All right, correct. You want to say something about that?
Yeah, so health is, if you look at it, it's actually a spectrum. People don't get sick overnight. Nobody gets cancer overnight. Nobody gets diabetes overnight. It is accumulated over years and years. So you can be you. That's why the health screening is important, and also checking yourself on your fitness level and things like that to see how healthy you are. And then so from there on, then your level in terms of the spectrum of this so-called health spectrum. Yeah. So yeah, definitely there's no healthy or disease, is how healthy you are. And like I mentioned before, it's a constant effort or constant discipline to always try to be better and better.
Yeah.
So the other one is when we talk about men, right? Don't want to seek help. This attitude of men strong, mentally and physically and whatever not. What are the channels out there available other than having that group, to keep a healthy lifestyle? I mean, to the group of people who are more conscious and always remind you of the positive health attitudes. Is there out there that men can go to? I know there's some apps and HPB have this, have that. Other than that, anything you have in mind?
Well, I don't have anything in particular in mind, but definitely, I mean, at least you can you can maybe speak to a doctor and find out certain information first on how to get started or where to get started, or at least choose a doctor that can guide you to do that. And then you can also, I mean, nowadays you have social media. So I know some people actually follow, like, workout, those with Instagram account, or those personal trainers who talks about how to work out and how to do these exercises. YouTube channels, there's so many things there, but definitely there's sometimes there might be too much information. So maybe speak to whether it's a coach or a doctor or somebody who can at least help you to get started somewhere along the journey.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. I think again, it can be information overload. I mean, I've been into groups of health, fitness, and whatnot. And of course, sometimes the admin really control what need to be spoken. But I tell you, it's anything under the sun, right? There's a lot of things to learn. But how do you then direct your own issues and take action? So I think at the end of the day is, information is good, but how do you take action, right? Yeah, then that is the one that really make the difference.
Yeah.
I think for Singaporeans, we have also something that in a sense, works against us, and that's food. We
Yes,
are
yes.
one
I
of those
agree,
food paradise,
Mm.
and everywhere you turn, there's food, and many 24-hour coffee shops and things like that.
And now there's
Yeah.
Grab food.
Yeah, and food
delivery
You don't have to
becomes,
go out.
yes, it's delivered to your doorstep,
Yeah.
and you order as much as you want, and
Yeah.
and when I become more and more health conscious, what I realize is that everything we eat, or nearly everything we eat, has either rice or noodles,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
that's carbohydrates, which
Mm.
is some people call it the useless calories, and it just stays on your waist forever. Okay, and so what are your comments about food? Is there
Mm.
some things that we should be mindful about, and is there kind of a right way to eat and not the
Mm.
right way to eat?
I mean, you put out a very good point. You are what you eat, right?
Mm.
So, I mean, personally, I also struggle with food because I was a fat kid, and I love to eat, and to the extent that I even asked my mom what's for breakfast the next day.
Oh,
Every night.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how much I love food.
Yeah.
My relationship with food goes a long way.
No, the positive thing is you like to plan ahead.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and I eat rice for breakfast.
Wow.
Nasi lemak,
Nasi lemak, nasi goreng.
nasi goreng. Wow,
and
nice. I
of
can.
course, like just simple.
Okay, let's stop
nasi.
there.
Yeah, so I went through that. So I think most people find it difficult. It's actually the food portion, controlling the food, because the moment I tell them you need to lose weight or you need to eat healthily, first thing they'll say, but I cannot control my food, or I cannot stop eating, but I love to eat this, or all those things. So how did I go through it? So I also went through up and down, like gaining weight, losing weight, because of this love-hate relationship with food. So definitely, first of all, you must look at it in a long-term approach. You can't just, okay, I'm going to go on a diet 3 months, that's it. And that's not going to work, because the moment you stop the diet, you're going to go back to whatever you're eating, and then nothing's going to, it may even be worse.
Yeah, back to square one. Yeah.
So you must look at it in a long-term approach, that I want to change my lifestyle, make it a lifestyle, not a diet, something that you can sustain. At the same time, you must also accept that we still love to eat, and we still love to eat certain foods. So it's all about moderation. You can't be eating biryani every day, but maybe you can eat maybe once a while, or maybe even once a week, or once every 2 weeks, and you don't have to eat so much. So it's all about making it sustainable. If I tell you, look, you cannot eat rice for the rest of your life, you might just, I can't do this,
Yeah.
you might just forget it and just go back to normal. So the approach must be something that is sustainable to you, because the no rice approach may work for some people and doesn't work for most people. And then there's also some people who may prefer to eat a certain type of food more than the rest. And it's also about portion size and maybe avoiding dessert. So everyone is different cravings and different favorites. So sometimes you may have to address it individually. So the best way is, of course, try to eat in moderation, and maybe don't eat so much of the rich foods, especially when it's just a normal day, maybe reserve it for like a birthday celebration or some event.
Yeah, talking about rich food, you trigger me there. Because I know of many of my friends have gout. And you see this very common among men, right? So it's among men, right? Why is it so?
Men tend to get gout more than women.
Yeah.
It's just in our genes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm seeing more and more younger men with gout.
Oh.
In their 30s. And sometimes they don't even look like they have gout. Then they'll tell you, oh, I have gout.
Oh, I that happened to me actually. Many years ago. I can't remember. Maybe in my almost 30, or around 30, 20 something, 30 something. I went to a checkup actually. That was maybe the last time I did a checkup.
Okay. 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
And the doctor said, do you have pain in your joints, especially your ankles, your foot? I said, no. Any swelling? No. I said, should there be? He says, well, your uric acid is very, very high. I said, really? Okay. So he said, actually, that's called gout. And usually, your ankles will swell, your foot, your toes, whatever will swell, your joints will hurt. So I don't know, for some reason I was spared all the pain and the agony. But yeah. So he said, it comes from eating too much meat, protein stuff, right? Yeah, but so So since then, I've never had any of these kind of symptoms, but I try to cut down meat and things like that. Yeah. So I think yes, gout is a very interesting. My friend right now has that problem. So wow, when I looked at his feet, I said, wow, that is really painful, man.
No, I've seen the worst case of gout in my life. And this person, quite old, he has almost the bumps almost everywhere. Not only the joint, the non-joints as well. You know, and why? Because when he was young, he likes to play badminton. But he likes to also drink Coke.
Oh, okay.
Right? And he drinks Coke every day. And it's not coincidence, I think, the reason for him having that. It's too painful to watch, and I can't imagine how painful it is. Yeah.
So he got gout because of Coke?
No, because that's his habit.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that everyone who drink Coke every day will have gout. But what do you think, doctor?
I mean, usually gout is linked to purines, which is, I'm not sure whether purine is in Coke, but it's not been mentioned before. But most probably maybe his other food. The Coke was something that's not healthy, of course, but I'm sure it's something else in his diet.
Well, definitely we can't get sponsored by Coca-Cola. Sorry, Coca-Cola.
But you brought up a good point, because there are many people who exercise a lot and then they feel, okay, I can eat because I exercise so much.
Yeah. Maybe that's it.
And I don't want to target any particular group lah, but I tend to see cyclists because there's still more cyclists recently, right?
Yes.
You know, because they like to wear the tight clothes.
Yeah.
So they cycle all the time, but they're still overweight. You know, because you can see everything.
Yeah. I think they were thinking the tight clothes will really push all the fats in.
They are not corsets.
And then after the cycle, of course, your teh tarik and all your supper and all those things. So a lot of people think, oh, exercise, so I can reward myself. Yeah. So that's the reward, right? The one you mentioned about the cycle. Oh,
So
this is my reward. For
the
exercise.
formula, the equation is still not balanced. You know, the input and output is still not balanced. I mean, psychologically, they think it's balanced, you know, or maybe even the output is higher than the input. But when you maybe calculate it, it's not true. Yeah, I think generally, if you're eating 3 meals a day, you're eating too much for our kind of lifestyle. Unless you're a construction worker or something like that, eating 3 meals a day is just too much. You know, let's say for breakfast you have for Chinese we have the the normal Chinese kind of food, and then lunch you have you eat some rice or noodles, and then dinner you eat something else again. 3 full meals is just too much for our lifestyle.
Yeah, for Malays sometimes rice.
Yes.
I mean things have changed
some
now.
form of carbohydrate.
Yes,
it doesn't have to be rice. It's rice,
Prata,
noodle, or something else.
Lontong.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. So today,
Yeah.
for the last few months, I just started this. I actually have 1 main meal a day.
Okay.
All right. And for dinner, I don't eat the normal kind of food. I just take cereal, which fills me, and it fills me till midnight. Because what happened in the past, before I started this new way of eating, I do have a normal meal for dinner, all right, and I eat about 6 or 7 o'clock. But by 9:30 or 10, I'm hungry again. You see, and then I snack, and that's what actually caused me to put on weight, the snacking.
Yeah.
You see, so when I switched over and I said I'm not going to have a normal meal, just cereal, and the cereal has a lot of fiber, which actually stays in your stomach longer, and also add fruits to it and things like that. So that gives you a bit of the nutrition. I don't find myself having to snack, except last night.
Because you couldn't sleep.
Because I couldn't sleep.
You blame it on me.
Yeah, I blame it on you. Yes. Okay. So I think now, so I don't know. Some people find that a bit extreme, but I say, well, it works for me. So I guess you just got to find what works for you.
Yes.
And just do it. And like you said right from the beginning, sustainability.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not okay. I cannot eat this. I cannot eat that. No, I can eat anything. All right. But do I have to eat it so many times a day?
Yeah. And so often.
Okay, Dr. Tawfiq, just a bit of a side, but I think it's already related before we end. It's about men's mental health. Right? I think this is a not only ongoing issue, but rising issue in our society. And can you give us a bit of perspective on the cases that you see? What are the more common cases when related to men's mental health?
Okay, so men's mental health is also a very important issue. In fact, every November of the year, they have a Men's Health Awareness Month, and mental health is part of that. The 3 main conditions that they talk about. So why is mental health something that is important to talk about for men? Because men don't talk about it enough. So like we mentioned about health, men don't tend to talk, not as much as women. And there's a higher rate of suicide among men versus women, because women tend to just do it to seek attention. When men try to commit suicide, it's because they want to do it. They want to really commit suicide. So there's a higher rate compared to women. And a lot of times it's possible because they are not talking. We are not talking. We're not sharing our feelings or emotion, because that's how we are, tuned. So whereas women tend to share with their girlfriends, their friends, their mothers, their sisters. But men don't talk to their fathers, don't talk to their brothers, don't talk to their friends about, because sometimes we feel that it's not macho, it's not something manly to talk about your feelings. So definitely that is one of the major factors why mental health is a strong, important problem that's affecting men. So my advice would be definitely try to seek help early. If you feel that something is not right, seek help. Seek a professional help, whether it's a counselor, a therapist, or a psychiatrist, or even just your GP, your doctor. At least get the first seek for a first consult, and then the doctor can guide you on where to move on from there.
I think it's very important that you can go to GP for mental health, right? Because sometimes people, due to stigma, going to psychiatrists, is probably too much. You can go to your GP, right? All GPs are trained in assessing psychological
so, the
issues.
next step would be, if the GP feels that you need further assessment, then you'll be referred to the right doctors or the specialists.
Right. One of the things I suggest to people is have a personal therapist. Now, what I mean by that is, just talking about cars, if anyone owns cars, you probably do this. You send your car in for checkup, all right? And it's not weekly, it's not monthly, it's, regularly. Even though you don't encounter any problem, just send it for a checkup. They will run a diagnostics, and see if there's anything that needs to be tuned or changed or things like that. I think for the human body and the human mind, something similar needs to be done. We talk about health screening, so that's something I need to repent of.
So this mental health screening, you're saying?
Mental health screening, not screening, just you go and talk to a therapist, okay? A personal therapist. It means you don't see him every week, you don't see him every month, you just go, every 2-3 months, you just do a check-in with the therapist, where you just allow the therapist to hear you talk, and just ask you some questions to kind of find out where you are, and help you to align back with yourself and pick up on certain signs that you might be having a little bit of struggles and difficulties. You might be a bit too negative, too critical, or something like that, or you might even be having suicide ideations. So the therapists are trained to pick up on these things, all right, and be a sounding board to you, so that you hear yourself talk, and it says, hey, how come I'm talking like that, and things like that. And slowly make the slight adjustments, a tuning, recalibration there and then. So it's not saying that you have a problem, but just go have it tuned, all right, so that you avoid bigger problems later on. Because we have a way of fooling ourselves, deceiving ourselves. When we become critical or negative, we say, well, I'm just a realist, I'm being realistic. Well, people with depression are the most realistic people in the world. Seriously, that is a fact. Okay, so if you find yourself, I'm a realist, that's why I'm angry with everything. I'm losing hope about everything. Well, possibly you might have depression, and the best person to tell you whether it's true or not is a therapist. So I have friends who are therapists, and I picked one or two, and I says, I'll just meet up with them, and I just open myself up to them, and they will bounce it back to me and says, well, very interesting you said that. I say, why so interesting? Then they will talk about it. So I would strongly recommend, if you're talking about prevention is better than cure, this is a very good way. For me, I don't have to pay any consultation fee because they are my friends.
All right.
Okay.
So
you brought up a good point, because like you said, you're lucky that you have therapists as friends. So before you even reach that level of almost having issues, you can just start talking to your friends. Just reach out, and of course, if it'll be best if you can find a friend who's willing to listen. Sometimes, and as a friend, if you don't have mental issues, but your friend is reaching out, you don't have to give solution. Sometimes you just need to listen. Just need a listening ear, and sometimes you just try your best not to even give any solution and just listen. Sometimes that process itself is good enough.
Oh yes, that is more than half the battle won.
Yeah. So
It's very good advice. So I think we also talk about sometimes we men, we tend to always find solutions all the problems.
Yes.
Mr. Fix it, okay, and that's not being mindful. We're not being, we are just being automatic,
Yeah.
right? Because we have to solve the world problems,
Yeah.
and the little problem, the big problem, and people come to you with a problem, suddenly you see solutions. But what actually it's just lead is listening ear.
Yeah.
And that's why probably men don't talk to the men. When I talk to you, you start giving solutions. I just want a listening ear, a sounding board.
That's right.
You to empathize.
Mm.
Okay. Think we have a good session today.
Yes, very
Watson.
good, very good.
I think is one of the excellent sessions. I know we really calling experts in and being able to get deep into the issue, and very sure that these are scientific tested, and you don't have to worry. All right, and in practicing some of the advice and the tips that were given. So thank you very much, Dr. Tawfiq.
Thank you
for
for
coming.
having me.
Right, hope to see you
Yep. See you guys
again.
again soon.
Yeah, okay, bye bye.